2 classes ago, we took some new notes on proofs. We are going to finish those today, so if you can take them out and find proof number 4 where we need to start. So first thing in a proof is to mark on the picture what the given information is. So we know that NQ is congruent to QP, and we know that OQ is perpendicular to NP, so we know that we have right angles. Now we're going to look for our 3 facts. So here's a side, that's one fact. Here's an angle, that's another fact. Here's the side in the middle, that's our 3rd fact. So because this angle is in between the 2 sides, this method is side angle side. Now some people might be wondering if we could do hypotenuse leg. We can't. These are the 2 hypotenuse. We don't know information about those. We can't use those. Doesn't work. Okay, side angle side it is. First, put the given information in the proof. So first one, NQ is congruent to QP, and our reason is given. Alright, this is nice because this gives us side 1. 1 fact down, 2 to go. Then we are going to say our next given, that OQ is perpendicular to NP. Our reason is given. That part's easy. Now the question is, what am I going to write next? Well, when I knew that those were perpendicular, those lines are perpendicular, I knew to write down right angles. So I'm going to write down angle NQO, and you can't use one letter because we won't know which one, angle PQO are right angles. Okay? And our reason, when we're just talking about perpendicular lines, it's going to be the definition of perpendicular lines. Remember to use your list of theorems and definitions. Okay, number 4, but that doesn't say they're congruent, so we have to take it a step further. So now we can say that NQO is congruent to PQO, and our reason is called the right angle congruence theorem. That's what tells us if they are right, they are congruent. Again, that's on your sheet. This is our 2nd fact. So this is angle 1. Now we need our 3rd fact. Our 3rd fact would be that OQ is congruent to OQ, and that reason is reflexive. And now that I'm looking at my proof, this is my 3rd fact. And now that I have all 3 facts, I can make my conclusion. And my conclusion is that triangle NOQ is congruent to triangle POQ. And my reason is side angle side. Okay. Next one. First, mark on the picture what we know. We know that RS is parallel to TU. We mark that by putting arrows. And we also know the top is parallel to the bottom. Now we have to find our 3 facts. Well, the one that's easy is the side in the middle. Now what's tricky is finding the angles. So let's take a look at the left and the right. So if I'm taking a look at the left and the right, the 2 angles would be the angles that are drawn in between the parallel line and transversal, okay, and are completely contained in the triangle. So for the yellow line, you get angle 1 and angle 2. But now look what happens when we look at the top and the bottom. Our transversal stays the same, but now if I'm going to draw in the angles from parallel line to transversal, it's these 2 that end up being congruent for the top and bottom blue lines. So now I've got 2 angles and a side, and the side is in between angle 1 and angle 2, so this method is going to be angle side angle. Alright, so we're going to start by saying that RS is parallel to TU, and our reason is given. And when these were, if we're keeping track, the yellow line. And when the yellow lines were congruent, we mark those red angles down as being congruent because they're alternate interior. So we're going to write angle RSU, that would be the top left angle, is congruent to angle TUS. And our reason would be the alternate interior angle theorem, which says if the lines are parallel, the angles are congruent. Now, okay, so this is our angle 1. Now let's look at the blue lines. So looking at the blue lines, that would be ST is parallel to, to RU. And in our picture, those are the blue lines. And because of those, well, first of all, that was given. But because we marked those lines parallel, we're able to say those black angles, angle 2, were congruent. And that top one would be angle TSU is congruent to angle. The bottom black one would be angle RUS. And our reason, again, would be alternate interior angle theorem. So now that gives us our second angle. Got one more fact to go, and that would be the segment in the middle. So we're going to say, this is 5, that SU is congruent to itself. That's easy. That's the reflexive property. And that's our side. So now we have our 3 facts. So now we can make our conclusion. The triangle RSU is congruent to triangle TUS, and our reason is angle, side, angle. You're always going to end with the triangles being congruent and then whatever reason you have. Alright, last one. It says W and Y are right angles. So these are right angles, and WX is congruent to VY. So if I'm looking at my picture, I say, okay, well, I have an angle, and then I have a side, and then I have a second side. So if I'm looking at that, the angle is not in between, so that would spell a bad word. You can't spell a bad word. So because it's a right triangle, what we can do instead is do hypotenuse leg. The hypotenuse is the one across from the right angle, so that's the hypotenuse, and these would be our legs. So the method we're going to use is hypotenuse leg. Now we need to write this in our proof. So in hypotenuse leg, when you have the other proofs, you have the 3 facts of sides and angles. But in hypotenuse leg, to prove them, the 3 facts, one is the hypotenuse, the second is the leg, and the third is that you have right angles. You don't have to say they're congruent. But those are the 3 facts that you're looking to put into your proof. So let's start. We've got W and Y are right angles. Okay. That was given. So on our list, that covers the right angle part. Now we need the other given. The other given is that WX is congruent to VY. That's given. That's nice. And if I look at my picture, that's my leg. So there's 2 of the 3 facts I need. And the third fact is that reflexive one. VX is congruent to VX, the one in the middle. And that is the reflexive property. And this gives me my hypotenuse. And now that I've got my 3 facts, now I can make my conclusion that VWY is congruent to triangle XYZ, and my reason is hypotenuse leg.